Greetings, everyone. Jim Walker here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to any and all returning viewers. Just a quick video this time around, almost a throwaway, but this has been on my to-do list for a while. Not the most profound thing, just something I've felt like sharing. I think we all have, as drummers, musicians, we all have our light bulb moments, our watershed moments where we see or hear something, specifically in this case, something we see or hear another musician do that we really learn from. And this is just one of those for me. If I were inclined towards clickbait-ish titles, it'd be something about my favorite Steve Gadd groove or the greatest thing I learned from Steve Gadd, something along those lines. I'm not a fan of that stuff. I don't even like begging for likes and subscribes at the end of a video. But this goes back to, this really was a defining moment for me in terms of just a musical mindset. This goes back to 1981 or 82, maybe 83, no later than 83, when I saw Chuck Mangione's group, his quintet, the same quintet that played on the Feel So Good album, at Symphony Hall in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I know it was before 1983 because my father drove me, which means I didn't have my driver's license. I've looked for, see, there any old records or old programs to be found online. It's just gone too far back. But somewhere, early 80s, and I was looking forward to seeing the group. I'd seen it once or twice before, and I was and am a huge fan of the drummer on that recording, James Bradley Jr. So we got to Symphony Hall, found our seats, and I look up on stage. The curtain is already drawn. This is well before the musicians came out. Curtain's already drawn, and you can see Chris Vidala's horns out there and the guitars out there, and then you see the drums, and I see those aren't James Bradley Jr.'s drums. And then I quickly notice we've got a six-piece black Yamaha kit, and then I see the ride cymbal up in the corner with the big chunk cut out of it, and I realize I'm going to get to see Steve Gadd today. How cool is that? And it was everything you would expect it to be. I was at the age, I'd been playing for a few years at this point, and starting to learn some more complex things in my playing, getting into things like samba grooves and working on some coordination things and more complicated rhythms. So I was just kind of at that stage of development. And looking forward to hearing Steve Gadd. I certainly knew who he was. I'd heard him on Asia and all the Paul Simon stuff. And I don't know if I'd heard three quartets at that point, but I had heard like the Leprechaun and the Mad Hatter and some of the other Chick Corea things. So Steve Gadd was a known quantity to me. And he didn't disappoint. He was in fine form that evening. But there was one thing he played that just kind of was a reset for me in terms of my mindset. Because in the middle of this show where all the standard Steve Gadd licks came out, and the chops and the speed and everything that we know and love when we think of Steve Gadd. But the one thing that really just stopped me in my tracks was when they were playing a shuffle. We get to my favorite part of the my favorite Steve Gadd moment, my favorite Steve Gadd beat. And this is going to go down in the record books as the simplest drum video in the history of YouTube, which is kind of the point of it. They were playing a shuffle. I can't remember the tune, and this is 40-something years ago at this point. But I think it was Hide and Seek was the tune. I'm guessing because I've heard, and I've tried to find recordings of that band playing with Gadd, no dice. Not contrary to popular opinion, not everything you want to see is on the internet, but that's a rant for another time. So they were playing a shuffle, and Gadd playing a shuffle. You know, I'm in heaven listening to this. But at one point, this is what caught me. They were playing. He was playing behind one of the soloists. I'm guessing Vidala, and they're playing a blues, and for the entire chorus, just this. And then from there he goes on into the more standard thing. But for that one chorus, I don't even remember if he played a fill at the end. quarter notes, everything, all four limbs, both feet, both hands, unison. I think he was kind of pushing 2 and 4 dynamically, a little bit of an accent there. 40 years ago, I can barely remember where I left my car keys in the morning, but it was quarter notes. I remember that clear as day, just... And not the energy level of the band and the excitement level of the audience through the roof. The old there's that meme, that thing that makes the rounds of the internet from time to time. That Steve Lacy Thelonious Monk thing. I think Korea's had a similar thing, but I'm pretty sure it's the Steve Lacy one. One of the early directions, advice for musicians, and one is lift the bandstand. That was this. Just the energy took right off. And hearing the response of the band and the audience after he did that, after he played what I've come to call a page 1 beat, as in something you would find on page 1 of just about every drum set book, something that simple but that effective, huge effect on me. That really set it in my 13, 14, 15-year-old mind, whatever I was at that point. I guess 81 would be 15. You can do the math to figure out how old I am. That it wasn't about chops. It wasn't about complexity. It wasn't even about uniqueness. It was about playing something that fit the song, that fit that moment. And huge defining moment for me. So everyone else's favorite Steve Gadd lick, they'll play Lenore, they'll play they'll play Late in the Evening, they'll play 50 Ways, and I'm not going to hack my way through those. There are enough guys out there hacking their way through those on YouTube. You don't need me adding to the mix. It's like I won't play the Rosanna Groove on YouTube because who needs to hear it? Here's a guy who can play anything, practically speaking. Play anything. Go listen to the Three Quartets album if you haven't. Quarter notes, page 1, lifted the bandstand. So if I can find that clip on YouTube, I will link it in the video if such a clip exists. But that's it. My most influential, favorite Steve Gadd listening moments. Thanks for checking it out. Catch you next time.